welcome to the greatest week of the year. Happy game week, the game. Happy Thanksgiving, and welcome to the Horseshoe Lounge for the live show at Roosters. It is a fun, casual joint, which will not be open on Thursday for Thanksgiving.
Correct. So we can be with our families.
But Black Friday.
You know who is working on Friday? The Buckeye. Or Thursday, the Buckeyes.
Yes, that is correct.
They don't care about their families. Their families want them to win.
Not true. Their families will be there.
Yes.
Their families would get more satisfaction in the win than they would in them
seeing them on Thanksgiving.
All right, we're off.
Get back to the weight room.
We're off to a flying start with a fun, casual conversation. Yeah, it's big. Number 2 versus number 3. Big Ten East on the line. College football playoff spot on the line. Legacies on the line.
More just the legacy of the game on the line. All the other stuff is nice. That's the side dishes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
okay. The turkey dinner,
the main event, the turkey
dinner.
Yes,
is getting the victory. There's a lot of good players here that have played. They're playing at Ohio State currently that could walk out of here without a victory over Michigan due to them punting in 2020 and then losses the last 2 years. And that it's been a long time. Yeah. You have to hearken back to the 90s where that was potentially the case.
Nobody wants that. That's Justin Zwick, Bobby Carpenter, Nicole Cox. I am Austin Ward. And I think what makes it, Bob, I don't know. I think it's the biggest one ever. Am I a prisoner of the moment?
Everything's the greatest
ever. No, I know. I'm trying not to be using recency bias. I don't want to go over the top with the hyperbole, but the stakes for both sides when you're talking about legacy, because, yes, there's a ton of Buckeyes. Kate Stover, Tommy Eichenberg, Marvin Harrison down the list that want a set of gold pants that don't have it. Okay, that's Ohio State side. Jim Harbaugh, biggest fraud of all time, is on the line for him.
I think that's kind of done. What about I don't know if it's on the line.
What about Partridge in a Pear Tree? Where's he coming from?
I think that's done for him, so...
Okay. Well,
he's not even going to be there if they don't win and he's suspended. And then
has he coached his last game? I think if Ohio State wins,
then he's done.
I think that he has coached his last game at Michigan.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe not his last one, but
I don't know if maybe the bowl game.
It's a bowl game or whatever.
They could have him come back.
The NCAA is not going to be done by then. So he might come back and coach that one, and that's his swan song, and he's done.
Could be, but I'm with you. There's a lot on it because you look at the last couple years, you look at the vitriol that's gone back and forth. It has a real Woody and Bo feel from back in the day. There's no love lost. Then you throw in the Connor Stallions and everything else that's going on here. Two teams that are right on the cusp of the CFP. Two teams that were in the CFP last year. Like, these are two of the elite programs in the country. And then you also add into that the fact that, like, there's really been no other challengers in the Big Ten this year.
Right.
The story of the Big Ten has been Ohio State and Michigan. Penn State, we tried to write them a chapter, and they couldn't. they wouldn't join the party.
They're like, nah.
We tried to put them in.
That character just didn't have enough meat on the bone, so we got rid of
really
that
subplot. That's the show that you're watching. Like, whatever happened to this guy from 2 seasons ago?
That was a C plot. We didn't need it.
Yeah, wasn't enough intrigue. They worked hard. It was like it seemed kind of forced. And so you're back to the 2. And then there was 2. And they're 11-0. They're both undefeated. And you look at, was Michigan undefeated the last 2 years as well?
Yeah.
So it's been 3 years in a row of 11-0 and 11-0 coming into this game. I mean, I don't know if that's been the case. So there's just so much here. And especially when you look at how these teams play, neither one of them are like crazy explosive, score 50 on offense. Ohio State used to be that. This year they're a little different. They're defensive based. They've been running the ball. They're both healthy-ish. I mean, pretty healthy given this point in time in the season. So,
Minnesota, they were dropping like flies. Just a lot of. You could tell everybody's starting to get really sore. And
I would have, if I was Minnesota, I may have dropped out of that game too.
Michigan State's injury report the week after playing Ohio State was massive.
Yes, that game too. You can just see the players are just. I don't know.
It's a long season.
Mm-hmm.
And Nicole, it's a great point because Ohio State has been afforded the last 2 weeks against Michigan State and Minnesota. Both games at home, both opportunities in the second half to take the starters out. Ohio State's going to be about as fresh as they possibly can. Yes, there are some season-ending injuries. Lathan Ransom probably won't be playing in this game. That's a big deal. But Michigan, conversely, had like usually what Ohio State has. Back-to-back road games, physical toll, closer than expected at Maryland last week.
Your boy Mike, Big Mike Loxley.
Yeah, he almost came through.
I'll say this. He can dial it up. If the opponent he has in Week 11 or Week 12 is Ohio State or Michigan, he can give them a close game in College Park. He's the best in the business at that. Kudos to you, Mike Loxley. Shout out to you. Anyway, that's a big deal, Nicole. You got to be fresh for this game.
BFD.
BFD.
Yes.
Do the math on there. You go.
Yeah, it's coming. It's working.
Jay-Z.
When Bronson tells you it's a BFD, Mom, you'll know what that
You
means.
better
Yes,
never say
very
that.
Better not, right? He would
better.
never.
Never.
You watch it.
Well,
What do you think, Jay-Z?
about this week?
Yes.
I feel a lot better about this week. Not that I felt bad about it, but going into the season, you had 3 games: Notre Dame, Penn State, Michigan. That you kind of were like, those are the 3 that might get us. We knocked the first 2 out. After seeing Michigan play the last 2 weeks, which I don't know what caused a change or.
You've seen a change.
I mean, I went from hearing how J.J. McCarthy was a Heisman frontrunner at quarterback. He was amazing.
Uh-huh.
And then against Penn State, they ran the ball 30 times in a row. Something along those lines.
32, I believe.
I don't
With
see.
one play
Well,
action
with one
pass.
play action in between, so whatever. But I don't see him doing anything these last couple weeks. I don't know why he's not doing anything. Maybe Michigan wants to just run the ball.
What do you suspect is the reason?
Maybe
What-
he's not seeing things as clearly as he used to.
Interesting.
I don't know about that. Maybe that's the case.
Okay.
Maybe they just don't want to show anything coming into this Michigan game. Maybe they're going to come out 5 wides against us, and they just weren't showing anything these last couple of weeks, just running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to happen, but anyhow, I feel better about it. I don't think they are who everybody was making
Or
them
who we
out to
thought
be.
they were?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think they are the world beaters that everybody wants them to be or wanted them to be early in the season, and I think we're going to be okay come Saturday.
I think they had their minds focused in other areas instead of actually becoming better as
There's some of that,
players
yeah.
themselves.
Ooh.
And I just think when you take that energy and put it towards something that's going to bite you, in the butt at the end, then, you could have spent all that time being the
Yeah,
best.
just working on being better instead of cheating.
The amount of effort it would take to do that
Well,
is
they put a lot of effort into
there
it.
a ton of effort. And that's what I'm saying. That's like, that just takes up so much time, valuable time. So
Well, they were seeing it working on Saturdays, though, so it's like, it's worth.
Put in the time. They'll never catch us.
Complacency, Nicole, will
10,000
come
hours,
to
right?
collect. You've heard that, Justin.
I've heard that. That's
You've-
right.
there
Is
was
that
a-
in a winner's manual somewhere?
There was-
Somewhere.
that was on a sign right by Tress's office.
Oh.
And then I think underneath it was November's for contenders.
Yes, November's for
Got
contenders.
to have both of those things.
Got to have them
I
both.
like
And it's important for the final week of the regular season. Ohio State did play Minnesota on Saturday.
Yes, they did.
We're not going to spend a ton of time on it because it's
Okay, listen.
irrelevant.
The 3 keys to victory. Defense stayed strong. All right. Did everything they had to do.
Mhm.
Offense, I would have liked to have seen them a little more cohesive early in the
okay.
game, but
Some bad, unlucky stuff happening.
Yeah.
I mean, inside your 5-yard line, that's never fun coming out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
They
so
had
you
bad
ran into
field
a couple.
position.
Yeah, you ran into a couple things.
But you did get a Mecca going, which that felt good.
Yep.
Like Marv, I think they're going to have some stuff dialed up to get him going. But you have your 1B now. Like he's ready to go.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal.
Trey looked really good. I mean, the 75-yarder opened. I'm like, wait,
Oh, yeah.
I was pouring a drink, looking around.
God,
Hey,
yeah.
I thought we just got the ball. What is the kickoff team doing on there? What?
If you walked away for 63
Yes.
seconds at the start of the
missed
second half, you missed the game.
Yeah.
It was over.
And then, so the offense, I felt like still continued to develop. You would have maybe liked to see a little cleaner.
Just cleaner, yeah.
And then you walked away healthy.
Yep.
Like those were the things that like defense stays strong, offense just don't go out there and make me worry, and then just make sure that all the guys are leaving the field and walking off under their own power. Plus, you didn't have to play some guys like Tommy Eichenberg. Make sure he was out there wrestling James in the pregame trying to get on the field. It's like, hey, buddy, you didn't come back to beat Minnesota. You came back to beat these guys next week. Get the elbow going.
is he
Be
going
ready
to play next week?
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Tommy
he is
wanted to
gonna
play.
He would have played on Saturday.
Yeah, Ryan said
He
had to
would have
play.
came back in the game when he got hurt.
And if they amputated his arm this week, he would play.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
That's who
no
he is.
way in hell that Tommy Eichenberg
He was
will
not
play
happy.
on
He was
Saturday.
not happy at all. And it had to come down, I think, to a coach's decision. Like,
Well, yeah, Ryan said he talked to me.
They-
There was some text last night late. Like,
But it went
it's going
into
to be okay, buddy.
It went into pregame,
Yeah.
and as soon as I saw him come back
no
out
brace.
of the tunnel with no brace, I was
Grabbed
like,
his brace.
I was
and
like,
what?
I'm out of here. I'm going this way. This is about to be a war. So he was not happy.
He yelled at me in the pregame.
Yeah. He
Conspired with them. I'm like, yes, I did. I told him not protect you from yourself.
Yes.
he kind of walked in, and like I had a suspicion that he wasn't going to play, and I'm like, hey man, happy senior day, and he just kind of drilled me on the arm about as hard as possible.
Ooh.
Like, and I'm like,
He's a competitor.
I think I know where this is.
He's the
going.
exact guy you want. But like the good news is, Cody and Steele did a great. They did
Played
great.
great.
And here's the best part of this: is that those 3 guys are probably going to have to be on the
No, a
field
lot.
together.
Yeah.
Given the fact that Lathan's out, you're probably going to do a little more 2 safety, maybe some 3 linebacker stuff, which we don't do a ton of. And you've gotten Cody Simon so many reps this year. He's
reps.
played really well. You should feel really good if you're Jim Knowles about getting that package out there, Nicole, to stop the run, because that's what all Michigan does.
Yeah.
They ran
bigger bodies out there.
They ran at 40. Is it 48? 47?
Which time?
Against Maryland.
Oh.
And they only had 150 yards. It was
I can't get the 32 consecutive rushes out of my head.
They
since 2
rushed
weeks
it.
ago.
They rushed the heck out of it against Maryland, but not all that well. Like, it was not a good rushing day.
Well, I think the big secret about this Michigan team is that their offensive line is nowhere close to as effective as it was the last 2 years. We'll get to more of that.
Which is great.
But let's talk some Buckeye leaves from Roosters. Starting with Nicole. The notebook, you're running out of pages.
You guys, as soon as I leave here, I'm going
So
to get
many-
a new
so many
notebook
standards in
because
there.
this is really stressing me out.
They've got an Office Max just right down the road.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to go there
Do you
after
get,
here.
do you get a new one every year, or is it just like
Every year.
Okay, so that's all for this year. Or
Yes.
do you have? Okay,
Do you keep them so you can go back and look
I
at
do.
them?
I do.
I keep all mine.
mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my little bookcase. But I have absolutely loved watching this team all year. I felt this game, Kyle, he's slowed down. He's very patient. You can tell I don't know. It's just incredible to watch how great every single one of them are working together. And maybe it's because I'm newer at this and I didn't play but I just feel this year it's been so neat to watch kind of newer players that have been coached to watch them all grow together. And they just looked incredible to me on Saturday. I mean, I know we're talking about a couple things that happened, but nothing. I just feel they're so consistent. And Jack Sawyer, he looks amazing. He's definitely improved, or at least is having explosive plays.
Standard.
He's taken a huge step forward.
He's
No
creating
question.
a standard.
From the beginning of the year, where it's like, where's he been, to now, it's like, all right, he's just grinding away, and he's starting to make plays here at the end of the year.
The amazing thing is about that, the production. Like, sometimes you just have to continue to work.
Yep.
The production will come. The plays will come. Like, it's not always, hey, I worked really hard. Everybody just
keep
wants
chopping.
it. Yeah, keep chopping wood. Like,
Exactly.
that's why I try to talk to those guys. Like, just keep playing. They're going to have plays where they get 12 yards. You're going to have games where you only have like 2 tackles and they're running away from you, or anytime like things, it just doesn't work out.
The next play.
Just keep working at it. Ryan Miller, most important play, the next play.
It's so important because
is.
you take that energy and instead of focusing on doing a great job on the next play, you're focusing on something that already happened you can't even change. So, but I do feel too like there was a play, the third touchdown with Marvin Harrison Jr. I got to read my notes, guys, because you know me.
Oh, here we go.
But I just loved watching them all work together as a team. Like, for instance, Ryan Day making the call that he wanted Marvin Harrison Jr. just to have just be covered by one person. So it took Cade Stover and Emeka to block. And all of them working together. It just was really neat to see. And Marvin Harrison, just the confidence he has in him, which I was listening to the commentators, obviously, but I don't know if I would have noticed that you're right. Like, when it's Marvin just versus one guy, he's incredible.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, exactly. And
That's why it doesn't happen much.
That's the situation Ryan knew what to put him in, and then just the other guys that are making sure everybody has a path, and also on Travion's run.
Yep.
I mean, you just watched all the other guys make the blocks, make
Blocking
it so
on
that
the
he
front.
could get through,
Receivers
and he found
blocking
the crease and
downfield.
just
Julian
went with
Fleming
it.
had a nice block
It
there on the end.
was. It's.
Marvin was foot racing him down.
Yeah, he was.
And then when JTT got the ball and Jordan
Jordan
Hancock,
Hancock's
he was
like,
like,
"Give it to
"That's
me.
me.
Come on."
That's me.
I asked him about that in the post game. Like, he was like, I was asking him to pitch it. I'm like, I don't know. I guess he didn't hear me. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that
Yeah.
JT heard you. And was like, nah,
And then
I'm going to try and
just
I
score
got
it.
this.
Barreled over him.
Yeah, and then he just got in the way. He's like, oh boy, here we go.
JTT was so excited, but it's just really neat to all watch them together. It's not just one person, and to hear the comments these guys have been making. Like Emeka, he goes, I'm not here for my personal stats. I'm here to win games and to win championships. I'm like, the fact that they're focused on each other as a team, I think that's the key to all of it.
You need the brotherhood on Saturday at noon for sure. Jay-Z?
Yep. Are we giving Buckeye leaves out?
Yeah.
Who got yours? Jack?
The whole team.
Jack.
The whole team. Yeah.
Jack, and then
Guys, I'm going to do it
everybody
again.
else.
And
the
Ryan
coaching
Day.
staff.
And I'll be
And
giving
Ryan
Ryan
Day.
Day one next week, too. Just so everybody's
I'm not
aware.
giving Ryan one because I saw him run Kyle McCord in the third quarter with 3 minutes left after he already had an ankle that he got ripped up on.
The end of the second quarter probably is what
Well,
loses the
that one was
Buckeyes.
terrible too, but then I as I was rewatching the game, I'm like, I didn't see that in Saturday night. We ran him on a quarterback run when he's banged up.
I think they
Up 30 points.
I think they desperately wanted to get the fake pitch on the film.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I thought, but it's still, I mean, anyhow, I'm going with Trey because again, ever since he's come back, he's jumped off the screen and he has been a difference maker. The first half didn't really go. I mean, it wasn't clean, it wasn't great. It's right to start second half, boom, big play, and that's always him. You know, he can take to the house on any play. To be able to have that and get that start in the second half that we desperately needed.
Yeah.
Was huge. And then I think the defense fed off that, and it's just a boom, boom, boom. Next thing you know, it's 30-0, and we're sitting pretty. So Trey has been great. I hope he can stay healthy and just make it through this run here at the end of the season.
You got one game left, dude.
Well, hopefully there's 4 games left.
Well, yeah, but we don't.
We need him Saturday to be healthy. Yes,
and like
I'm expecting us to win.
We could go score on Iowa or go beat them. I mean,
everybody that plays Iowa thinks that.
They play the West. Penn State is all you need to know. Penn State couldn't score at all against us. They scored 31. 31 points.
And here's the other part, Jay-Z. Iowa will not score against Ohio State's defense.
I know.
So
that's. I mean, I can go out and play. They don't even throw the ball. They just run inside zone, outside zone. I mean, it's so bad.
Can you stop it? Oh, okay, you can. Well, we're out of ideas.
Yeah, we're out of it. We'll punt. Don't worry about it.
All right, we got the best punter in America.
For me, obviously you mentioned Jack, great. Trey, great. I like to see Emeka get going again. Mm-hmm. Watching him come out, he was leading the team in receiving. I think he had 5 for 85. Mm-hmm. And then also they ran like that little double wing deal where he like pulled around and did some block. It was
that
nice.
Here.
That's what I'm saying. Like most receivers would not want to be involved in that. Like they would have zero interest in being involved in that. Or that's what the type of selfless guys they have. And like he's an impossible guy not to like when you start sitting down and talking to him. And then I really did enjoy. It's been a long time coming watching Evan Pryor on the field playing, watching him have some success. Him and Dallin Hayden, maybe not full Buckeye leaves. They each get like a half. Okay. But everybody's wanted to see these guys and they're young and like Evan's had a million injuries and for him to get some action prime time into the game, like that was nice. It was fun to see that and to watch those guys getting rolling. And then I got to give my last one to Steele and Cody for holding it down when Tommy was out of there. Both those guys played well, as they always do in their stead.
Jordan Hancock is a revelation.
He is.
For Ohio State in the secondary. Berm decided that he would call it getting hookered, which is getting one huge year out of someone in the secondary and then you lose them. And it certainly feels like it's trending that way for Ohio State. So maybe the clock is it's too good. He's got to find a way to make money on it, and he will. I mean, it would be great if Ohio State could keep building around him for another year, but he is playing himself into the early rounds of the NFL draft.
He's doing great.
And he's going to be absolutely critical. I was surprised, Bob, I don't know if you were, about the number of snaps that Jihad Carter got on Saturday. Like, I don't like it at this point if Jordan Hancock is coming to the sideline.
Yeah.
He's done enough to stop the run. Jihad Carter is bigger. You'd think maybe he's better suited to stop the run. Jordan Hancock is a run stopper.
He's a big dude for a corner. He's a physical guy.
So I don't, do whatever you want, Jim Knowles. You're giving up 9.3 points.
Yeah, you're doing okay this year.
I am not going to tell you what to do. I'm just saying my preference is to never see 7 on the sideline.
I don't disagree with that. I like Jordan, and another guy who's like battled through a lot of stuff, and then had this great year this year. So
everybody was asking, like, why do you guys keep talking about Jordan Hancock last year? Like
this is why.
Jordan's a different. Like when you watch him, he is a special looking athlete physically, and he's he's a fine young man as well.
Awesome.
But just battling through all this stuff, and you're like, man, if I'm going to make a corner, like this is what I want this guy to look like.
Or if you want to build a bullet when that position existed, or somebody to play in the nickel, he reminded me of that. I was talking to him after Rutgers, I think. We were walking off the field, and it's like, you were talking, like, they actually recruited you to do this role. It wasn't that you had to just come play corner way back in the old, like, Jeff Hafley and Greg Madison bullet days.
Oh, yeah, he said Hafley recruited him and then left.
Yeah, and he didn't love that. But it was a reminder to me, because sometimes you forget a couple of years down the road, or I do. I'm not as involved in the recruiting as Berm, but it's like, well, yeah, they did actually see nickel ability and run stopping ability in this guy even in high school. It's not just that he had to play outside corners. Like, that's been a huge deal, especially when you are supplementing that with Denzel playing at a high level and Davison Igbinosun at a high level. So
it's been great.
We'll see what happens on Saturday. Jay-Z, what do you got in front of you there? Is that your favorite?
I believe these are Linda Zwick's favorite.
Oh, okay.
Those are the fried mushrooms.
Fried mushrooms. They are $3 on Tuesday. Get here tomorrow.
I think you mean Thursday.
Well, Thursday.
Appetizer
Sorry.
Thursday.
Appetizer Thursday. And
But
Bob,
yes.
what do you have there?
And then I have this fantastic QR code.
That's also on the screen.
Is this the last
on the screen. This is
opportunity,
The
or
last
did you do
week
bowl
you can
game?
win.
Yeah, the last
Last
week
week
you
you
can
can
win.
win.
12 games.
So, yeah, to register.
12 winners.
Mm-hmm.
We have 11 in the bank.
Yes. 11's being chosen today.
Roosterswings.com, QR code. You get a chance to get a pair of tickets,
Air tickets.
airfare,
Airfare.
deluxe hotel,
Deluxe.
Rooster swag, and it's looking like the Buckeyes got an opportunity. So go there. Millions are registering. You can register each and
Last
every
week,
day.
millions.
Last week, 25 million.
Millions of people.
It's amazing. That's like how many people
Didn't know we
voted
had
in
that many
Pennsylvania in the last election.
Well, you're actually allowed to do this every day,
Vote early,
They
vote
all live in
often.
the same place
right? You don't have to show identification until you win,
Until you
win.
and you
Yes.
can register.
Then I
every day.
need.
Then you
know,
have to know
yes.
that you're
Well,
need that.
you're going to have to book an airline ticket.
Yes.
So
You're going to need
You do have to be
government
a-
issued ID.
You have to be a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's true.
Correct.
So that's important. Nicole, what's in that notebook for Saturday at noon in the Big House?
I'm so excited for it. I think it's going to be an incredible game. I want this for our guys. I want this for Ryan Day. I want to remind everyone that Urban Meyer's the only coach that never lost to Michigan. So other coaches have lost, you know, and I feel like
Why are you saying
that
that?
hasn't been. It is going to be an incredible game, and I think we have the best guys. I think they deserve to win. But it's a game. It's a game, and I think we're gonna win. But I'm just saying, like, let's not forget how incredible this team is and how amazing they've played all year and how much.
are you going
She's-
to write
she's-
terrible emails
I think she's
to them if
building
they
up-
lose?
I dressed up today.
It's good. You look
Just for this week. It's an important week. It's
Yeah.
Michigan week,
Uh-huh.
and so Team Up North week. I'm sorry, I can't believe I said that.
You say
It's
whatever
okay.
you
great. Trust said he wasn't
Yeah.
afraid to say it. He's
Say
I
what's-
wasn't scared of it.
Say what's in your heart,
I
Nicole.
see.
We're just good, and I also think CJ Stroud, lost to Michigan.
with an asterisk.
And
Two
he's
asterisks.
he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now.
He is.
Like he's
That
Well,
might be
I
your
don't-
Houston bias coming out there, Nicole.
his stats though, his
I'm
stats
just
for
kidding. He is. He's having a great year.
I think.
Numbers
oh my
don't lie, Johnny.
gosh.
I think Patrick Mahomes is still alive. Unfortunately.
Yes, no. I meant just like rookie of the year and his stats.
He's
the way
playing
his
very
stats
well.
are.
You're right.
So it's
Not after tonight, Bill said. Go Birds.
Go Birds.
but I just think that's just something everybody needs to remember, and that's why it's a rivalry. It's been a rivalry forever, and so I'm really excited for it, and I'm really excited for our guys. They deserve it. They're gonna win. So
What's
score,
the number? Yeah.
22-17.
22-17.
And great news too.
Yeah.
Check with your favorite Roosters location, but our corporate locations are opening at 10 a.m. on Saturday.
a.m.
Yes,
That's
so
right.
people can
For
get
the
food.
game.
Let's
yeah.
go.
Guess what else they can get?
What?
Gift cards.
Yes.
Hey.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Tis the season.
Uh-huh.
Tis the
Thank you.
season.
You're a great stocking
no, but
stuffer.
That's what I'm here-
I do marketing for Roosters too, and
I've been doing this for 3 years. I know the schedule
hey,
now.
you really do because it starts today. For every $50 in Roosters gift cards you purchase, you get a $10 Roosters bonus buck. So it's like give a gift,
Everybody
receive a
wins.
gift. Everybody, it's a win-win. That's our thing. Win-win.
$10 for every 50.
Yes.
Got it.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. That's why we are at Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint. We're going to let Nicole get back to work, and we're going to bring Berm in to talk a lot more about the game when we come back right after this.
Roosters has been so fortunate. We just want to be able to give some of that back to the community.
They donate to organizations that are near and dear to their heart, and we're so fortunate to have been with Roosters now for a long time.
They will always go above and beyond to help support our foundation to further help veterans.
It's just a wonderful feeling to know that Roosters supports the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer.
All the folks at Roosters are just genuinely kind folks, and they want to make a difference.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters.
Thank you, Roosters Foundation.
Welcome back to the live show in the Horseshoe Lounge at Roosters. Berm is here, and it's time for a vibe check. Before you give a Buckeye leave, what is your nervousness from 0 to 10?
0? It's Monday.
No.
I can't be nervous on Monday.
You were nervous on Saturday. Do not lie to the people.
I don't feel any nerves right now. I feel like anger. I feel hatred. I feel all the things that you're supposed to feel, but there's no nerves. I miss the days of this game being like a nice type of hate, you know?
Uh-huh.
And now this hate now feels different, and I feel like it's
What do you mean? Like a better hate, a worse hate?
Well, I mean, that depends on how you look at hate.
Stronger
Bob.
hate?
An anger hate?
It's a more vitriolic hate, you know?
Like out of sports into the real world hate?
Yeah, it's a transcended sports and become like a thing where like it's a personal hatred. And I think that's when things get dangerous.
Just for Jim Harbaugh or for the entire program?
Or everyone in both programs. I think
Both
it's like,
programs?
like against each other.
Oh, you think they all hate
like
each other?
it's
and
not
something bad's going
I
to
asked how you were feeling, not how the program
Yeah, it's not
was
the
feeling.
program.
I feel the same way that everyone else who has any sort of rooting interest in this game feels, which is I hate those people on the other side.
But like in a sports way.
But not anymore.
But now it's transcended. We've gone over to the...
Yeah, do you not feel that from the... like?
I think it has gotten there. I do think the recent events of the Stallion have led us to this point.
Yeah, Connor the Stallion.
Is that what transcended? Because it used to be like, hey, tough, hard-nosed, clean. Like Earl Bruce used to always say,
respect.
toughest, hardest, clean, like nastiest game, but like clean.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been some times where there's been some shenanigans and a little bit of nonsense here and
Shoe
there.
throwing, perhaps?
Yeah.
Ankle
David
twisting?
Boston, Charles Woods.
Yeah, and you get
throwing
like
punches.
Like that stuff all was kind of between the lines. Like it feels like this transcended that.
Yeah.
And now there's
I think
lot
it
more
started,
to it.
I mean, obviously for Ohio State, this really began in 2021 when Jim Harbaugh, after losing 6 times in a row to Ohio State, decided to run his mouth about Ryan Day and say, well, the guy's born on third base.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think you look back at that and you can sort of laugh at it now, knowing that Jim Harbaugh may have very well got that advantage in a way that he didn't even
stole
know,
third
that
base.
he didn't
He
even
didn't know
that
it.
he didn't even know he had at the time. And so I think like you can understand Harbaugh being like, aha, I finally did it. But like I wonder how he must feel 2 years later, knowing that like those are ill-gotten gains, you know? And I do at times feel a touch of sorrow for Jim Harbaugh in this situation.
What?
Wow, on
Surely
on
not.
the week of the
Because
game.
I don't
Berm
believe
does live in Michigan.
He does live
I
in
don't
Michigan.
believe
That's
Jim
right.
Harbaugh. I don't believe
Never
knew
thought I'd hear it.
that this was going on.
I just
until-
thought his coordinators were
Till
the
recently.
best.
Yeah, I think he found out in the last 2 months.
I
or
can
so.
hear the comment section just
I'm
going
fine with that.
wild.
Bring it. I don't care. I don't think he knew about it until recently.
Even the people at Roosters right now are like, what is
That's
happening
great.
right here?
I love it.
No
I
way.
want people.
I could see where he
to
would be
think
that aloof.
objectively.
Yeah,
Like, he's a goofball. Like the guy. I don't think he.
He's
would
a criminal mastermind.
I don't think he would talk to his son if he wasn't on the coaching staff. You know, and I don't think that his son.
His son is.
I think there might be
Was
another.
his son the one that
You're
was
talking about
bankrolling
his
it?
son,
Jay?
whose best
Yeah,
friend
wasn't
is
he
Connor
bankrolling it?
Stallions?
I'm saying I don't think.
I
Jim-
bet Connor's coming to Thanksgiving dinner with the
I
Harbaughs
think
on Thursday.
Jim Harbaugh in November of 2021 finally felt like I did it. I've climbed the mountain. Everyone wanted me fired. I would have been fired if we played in 2020. I've conquered the beast. And then 2 years later, for him to have to
I'm off to the
acknowledge-
NFL.
For him to acknowledge, like, oh crap, maybe this happened wrong. I think there's some poetic justice to that. But that's where I think the Ohio State, like, the WAC, the people inside of the Woody Hayes Athletic Center have been like, you know what, F you guys. Like, you don't, and now you look at it and like, this is why it happened. The hatred is not the same as it used to be, and I kind of miss the old-fashioned hate. But it's
No,
an
no, but
America thing.
it's
It's
a
a
new-
problem all over the country.
it's a
and
refreshed
outside
hate.
of sports. So I mean, it's not
Renewed?
It's renewed.
Revigorated?
It's renewed, revigorated.
Well,
Yeah,
you
but
know,
even with like Bo and Woody, I mean, there were guys that were fighting, but they coached with each other. Like
Yeah.
there was a mutual respect at the end of the day when both of them were retired. Like, and they would talk about each other in the fondness of like preparing for that game, knowing that you had to be like at your highest level to be able to go beat them. And like that's
I bet
that's the way
Lloyd
it should
Carr
be.
gets a Christmas card from Jim Tressel. You know what I'm saying?
They're yes, I would say if they sat down, they would talk fondly about what
That is
happened.
not going to happen with these current head coaches.
Well,
No.
maybe, but there might be anthrax in it.
yeah, I mean,
It might be anthrax.
but I'm not. It's
Oh, look, it's snow.
Here we Merry Christmas, Jimmy.
the snow globe opened. It's just lost.
We missed you on November 25th. Here's your Christmas card.
There were Buckeye fans that wanted this. Remember, like there are people who root for Ohio State in the last 15 years. Like, oh, I missed the days when Michigan was good. Do you? Do you really?
I missed the days when they were good, just
I
good
did.
still losing.
Yes.
Like that's
we still would beat them.
I don't understand that logic.
They wouldn't know our playbook.
Good, but following the rules.
Yes,
No,
a
I
good
don't-
respect for the game.
I don't
we
understand
stay
that.
inside the line.
False.
We
I
do
want
not
my
cheat.
rival to be awful all of the time, and I want them to
No.
suffer.
it helps us so much. At
Suffer. They just quit caring, though.
I want them to suffer. I want the person.
You want Rich Rod back?
I want them to be the worst team in the Big Ten all the time, forever. I don't understand the logic of. Well, I really miss the days of the rivalry.
I
being
enjoy
good.
it coming in this game mattering a lot.
Yes.
It's never going to matter
it's
again.
not
So
gonna
who
matter
cares,
again. You're right.
Coach? I was sitting. I remember coming here in 2010. So yeah, we've been playing for the Lions. It's like not that far removed from when we played. And I remember watching people walking out of the game before it was over. And I'm like, what is going on?
just used to, like,
I go,
20
people
point
stand here just to cheer in every great play.
Let's realize though, those years there were the end of the Rich
Tate
Rod era.
Forcier?
The end of the Rich Rod era was certainly different, where even with Michigan being bad, the games were not competitive. In the early part,
It's like playing Indiana.
in the early part of the Urban Meyer era against Brady Hoke, like Michigan's teams were bad, but those games are still super competitive. Like it doesn't mean that Michigan's going to
41-42,
roll over in that game. It doesn't mean that they're not going to compete, but I want them to lose every other game. Like it doesn't mean they're not going to play hard against Ohio State.
But I love it when you get the pomp of like Big Noon and game day and everything's there and it's 2 versus 3, 1 versus 4,
100%.
whatever.
You look forward to it all week.
Yes.
You guys don't live where I live, man. Like I don't want them to ever be happy.
Man.
I don't want those people to ever feel joy in their lives about anything. I want
They had just given up.
no. I
mean,
want acid rain falling on their homes.
This is where the rivalry went to. This is Birmingham.
This is now
Okay,
where
like,
we are.
I
Were
don't-
you guys wondering why I asked him to just
I don't
like, kick it
ever.
off?
I don't
Like,
ever want them happy. I don't want
No
them having
nerves.
a fake happiness at the. I don't want September Heismans. I want nothing good to ever happen to them, ever.
Wow.
And
That's where we are.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
I can't believe that there are Ohio State fans who were asking
Acid
for
rain.
that.
Acid rain.
It was boring.
No,
It was boring.
winning is never boring.
Me saying it is, but it's when you're beating a team that they're the reason you love sports, the reason everybody loves sports. It's a PSA. If you don't know why you like sports, this is why. It's because it's the ultimate reality show. You watch it and there's no predetermined outcome. There's no script. This isn't pretend reality TV like Survivor and
Jersey
Real
Shore.
Housewives.
Every
and Jersey
decade,
Shore,
every decade,
like a
Ohio State
pseudo
loses a
script.
coach, and Michigan gets a chance to get a cheap win. Cool, fine, but this is not the way I want it to be.
What, 2 versus 3?
How
Yeah.
much better will you feel after a victory on Saturday?
I will not feel any better. It
R-
will
what?
not make a difference.
What is wrong with
it
you?
would- it
You're a
would-
psychopath.
It would not
You
make
are
a difference if it's 2 versus 3 or 2 versus 131.
Dude,
What about after 2
I
years
almost kind of felt
cheating
bad. I almost kind of felt bad for beating James Franklin again this year. Like,
Oh,
they couldn't do anything.
Now we've gone
They-
too far,
they
Bob.
couldn't do anything.
Nope.
You jumped.
I wanted to win.
That guy still has a job because he beat Ohio State once. You understand?
I know.
Sympathy for Jim Harbaugh is bad enough, and now you want.
What is
No,
happening,
That's not
Austin?
what we stand for
Because I'm
on
watching
this
this
show.
game, I'm like, they can't even.
What is happening?
They can't pee a drop, dude. Like there was nothing. I'm like, they had to go. they
You're
had
a
to go-
bad guy.
I am not a bad guy. I want games that are going to be competitive. I want to have to work for it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
You work for it all week to
I
dominate
get it.
them on Saturday.
I get it. I
So
get it.
what- it's. I can't
But
understand why you
21-3
don't.
in the end of the first quarter. Like, I
Yeah, I
don't-
mean, okay.
I'm not saying that they can't blow
Checking
them
out,
out, but like,
checking
why
out
do they
else
have
out.
to be 0-11 coming into it? That doesn't make sense.
Because watching them suffer for the previous 3 months is fun.
No, I'm going to tell you this. See, this is where you're wrong, Berm. If you were a real psychopath, like I thought that you were, and you're leading me down a
You're
different
a fake
way.
psychopath.
Fake.
Now, like we were up there in 2005. Were you at the game then?
was not, no.
Were you watching it at home?
Of course, I was watching.
You would have seen, like, dude, they already were cashing the victory in their mind. There was 7 minutes left. We're down by like 12 points or whatever it is. They had already registered that victory in their mind.
Sure.
And frankly, if I was them, I probably would have too.
Snatched.
And then to watch that like stripped away, they just stood there.
With one gonzo jump
Just-
and catching the ball, he snagged that victory from him.
And it's like, oh my gosh, we're on the 3. And Pittman, boom, touchdown,
touchdown.
game over.
Right to
And
the
they
Ohio
just
State
stood
fans.
there like
Silence.
7 minutes ago. I was
Yeah.
thinking about buying shots and what we were going to do and fun Thanksgiving. And now like they were left there in utter disbelief and despair, a pile of sadness.
I'm not taking the joy away from those types of wins. I'm just saying that to me there is no difference in the win in 2000 because I want them to be
Why
sad.
do you think people are into autoerotic asphyxiation? Because you want to go right to the edge.
I want them to be sad.
right to the edge.
I want them to be sad all the time.
Didn't you hear Urban? The edge.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
Yes,
talking about?
that is the edge.
You gotta go.
I didn't know
That is the edge.
that sign must have been in the old football.
It was. It was up there huge on the side. Chase the edge.
It's a tantric victory.
I got it.
Yeah, you got it.
Yep, great. Anyway, long story short, I'm not nervous yet.
Okay.
Talk to me Friday. And
I will.
How do you feel better though over the last couple of weeks of seeing what has transpired?
I didn't buy necessarily. I was trying not to buy too much into the narrative of Michigan being the best team in the country the first 8 weeks of the year because
How could you?
Because they were playing.
They played nobody and
Central Michigan.
But they were
UNLV.
They were completely dominating people, and you're like, hey, I can respect that. And then you realize why they were. It's because they were cheating their asses off. And then all of a sudden they
played nobody that was any good.
Right,
and still cheating.
Now they seem fairly.
Didn't have signals for Bowling Green, and weirdly, JJ threw 3 picks in the first half.
I'm not saying they're not a good team. I'm not trying to just
they're good.
Like
they're a good
they
team.
are a good team. They play smart. They don't make a lot of mistakes other than what JJ's tried to do on Saturday multiple times against Maryland. Maryland was like, no, we don't want those interceptions. It's fine. They're a good team. Like but they're not unbeatable by any stretch. I think a lot of people in this college football season believed early that there was no one great team. I guess I kind of subscribe to that still. I mean, Georgia's playing really, really well. I just still don't know that they're as good as they've been in the last couple of years. Bama's good, but if you can force Jalen Milroe to throw the balls, then you got a shot to beat him. But Michigan, if JJ's not 100% healthy, which I don't think he is, if they continue to run the ball.
Is that why they haven't thrown the ball? Does he have?
I think they're not throwing the ball because
he has a vision problem now.
Because
he's not able to diagnose.
He's
plays.
not quite as good as seeing the field when he doesn't know what the defense and the coverage is going to be or where the pressure's coming from.
That would make sense.
Does that make it harder, JZ?
I think it makes it. I think when you don't know, it's tough.
So
did you often get a lot of tips on what defenses you were facing?
Negative.
Oh, okay.
But it's not even that they're running the ball very well right now. I mean, we can.
They rushed it like 48 times for 150 yards. So
it's not like a ground game that's just going to.
They've averaged less than 4 yards a carry against Purdue, Maryland, and Penn State. Like it's not been Penn State. They averaged.
Penn State's good, so I'll exclude them. But the other two,
they should be rushing.
They ran the ball better against Penn State than they did against Maryland or Purdue. But it's just not.
I would expect that team more.
They're not.
It's a bigger game.
They're not running the ball like they did in 2020.
They don't have the explosive gains. Like you used to watch outside the one against Penn State where you watch Blake Corum rip off the one at the end. Nope. I mean, they don't ever hit it and it's like 30 or 40. Heck, some of them are 50, 60, with Edwards and Corum. Like those guys aren't producing that.
That doesn't mean I'm not worried about that for Saturday. I mean, Ohio State's been great at preventing the big play, but in a game like this, it's going to come down to one or two of those guys making big plays. The reason I feel better about it than I did 3 weeks ago is because Ohio State's best players are better than Michigan's best players. Mm-hmm. And if you ask me who's more likely to hit a home run in this game between Marvin Harrison or Roman Wilson, I'll take Marvin Harrison. If you ask me between Travion Henderson or Blake Corum, I'm going to take Travion Henderson. So those are things that Ohio State has, and they're getting healthy. Like Ohio State has much higher ceiling NFL talent on their team than Michigan does. Mm-hmm. But Michigan has a really good team. It's not a knock on Michigan. It's not to say that they're, paper tigers or whatever, but they're not like unbeatable.
What do you think is the most important matchup in this game, Bob?
I would say, I think you would look at both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's metrics going
these
back.
kind of games.
I want to say I heard my man Anthony Rothman say the last 21 years, the team that won the rushing battle won the game.
Yep.
And even outside of that, I don't know if it's a total yardage. I would say it's not a total yardage thing to me. It's a feel. Like when you watch it, sometimes it's maybe a yards per play. Okay, one team rushed for 120, the other team rushed for 85, but you know what? They rushed it 14 times for 85 yards, and when they got it, they creased it and they had it. Can you get a yard when you need one on third down and fourth down? Michigan's been good up front, both sides of the ball. I feel like this Ohio State defensive line is playing pretty good.
They're playing real good.
They're tough. Their guys are big. They're physical. The second-level players, the linebackers are playing well. Sonny Styles is playing well. I think the biggest issue, the interior of that Michigan defensive line is pretty good. Are we going to be able to run the ball on them? And I've watched Justin Fry do a lot of different stuff. I love the creativity out of the running game. Instead of just saying, we're not very good at running the ball, we're just going to throw it. Nope, we're going to continue to work things out and try to get more stuff on film.
And
maybe it's not a traditional line up and knock people off the ball 4 or 5 yards. but we can get Trey in space. We can do this. We can get Xavier the ball. We can do some other things. Then honestly, I mean, maybe Devin Brown might be healthy. I know Justin hates that, but utilize him if you need to. Kyle McCord.
Maryland scored 3 touchdowns with their backup quarterback from the 1-yard line on Saturday. It's the one area where Michigan's big defensive tackle situation, which is the matchup of the game for me, is Michigan's defensive tackles versus Ohio State's guards and center. But where you can equate the numbers on the line and have that quarterback run threat, like that's a way to do it. So it comes down to those 3 guys in the middle. Honestly, if I'm picking one subsection of the team, that's what it is to me.
Yeah, was it 58? He's a tank.
Oh,
they got watching that game last week. I saw him around. I'm like, holy smokes!
You got some beef in there,
he
man.
is a beefy guy. So yeah, moving him around is not going to be easy. I think I feel better with it being in the middle of the defensive line, though.
Yeah.
As opposed to having 2 edge rushers that are crazy.
Yeah, they don't have a Hutchinson.
Yeah, I mean, we can kind of gunk that middle up maybe a little bit more.
It's easier to hide those guys.
It's easier to hide them, yes, I should say. And they've been playing better. Those 3rd and 4th and 1s that you were talking about, we've been getting those this year. We've been better at that, in my opinion, at least down the stretch here.
Improved.
So, we've improved, yes. So I feel good about that. I think that being able to kind of hide in there is going to help. And then we've been doing a lot of things, getting out. You bringing Marvin around and handing the ball off to him, Mecca. I mean, we've been doing stuff to get to the edges and get to the sideline.
And I think we
have the speed to do it.
Well, I think when you watch Travion run, if there's a crease, he's got it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that is there this year that was not last season. Well, he can get to it. He sees it.
He wasn't in the game last year, and he was banged up at the end of his freshman year as well. Like, we haven't seen. Definitely not seen this version of Trey against Michigan.
It's fun.
And I think there'll be some creativity with what Ryan has done. With Chip, Cade Stover.
We even Trey out of the backfield making some nice catches on the sidelines and just using him. And I mean, they've done a great job.
That's you want to slow down, and they really haven't done a lot of it this year. And when they've done it, it's been effective. I think it'll be a spot shot. But you want to negate a defensive line, especially guys inside. If you can go tempo and get them going,
you get them
that 3rd, 4th play, especially get some perimeter runs.
Yep.
And if you're not substituting, because they can get that 12 personnel, they can flex guys, they can move some things around. And all of a sudden, like, those guys are gassed. Big fella's gassed.
Starting to see hands on hips, and
they don't run. Going. They don't get quite the pass rush in the middle that they did.
There's also a benefit, Bob. Like, Ohio State was concerned about legal sign stealing against Clemson in the Sugar Bowl 3 years ago. They went tempo. They did some different huddling things to keep their signals protected, and it worked. And they dialed up a 40-plus point performance. And just Brent Venables, like, I don't know. All I know how to do is steal signs. I don't have a defense for that. And they befuddled them. I don't know.
That was his answer in the postgame?
Yeah, he's like, I don't know.
Yeah. He's honest. I'm going to tell you guys.
I've got this guy.
Oklahoma hired him for his honesty.
He was in the armed forces, and he said he was a genius, and I hired him. And he tells me, but now I don't know what's going on. It's like, I guess this has been going on for a long time.
We need to find some former ex-military guys, bring them in. I mean, where are those guys?
I thought that Berm should have been just pointing his camera at opponents' sidelines for the last
Film
3
them?
years.
Yeah, why not?
Can't you be that guy, Berm?
I don't.
We would have never had any actual photos for.
I don't want to
for the podcast cover or for our site. But
you want to win the right way. I said if I was on the other side of this, and I watched my team do something, and I'm like, man, like Jim Harbaugh, like you said, if you really didn't know and you found that out, I wouldn't be acting the way I would. I wouldn't be making excuses. Like I would be kind of embarrassed about it. To tell you the truth.
Do you think you'd stop calling yourself like the leaders and the best?
Counter accusations, and you just blame everybody else and deny.
Right there.
They're doing it too.
Well, the final stage was acceptance, which we saw on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at that, Berm, that he didn't risk going up there
under oath?
I'm convinced that Jim Harbaugh. I'm convinced Jim Harbaugh would have gone up on the stand and talked to whoever wanted him to talk. That's what I'm saying. Like I think the people around him were like, actually, yeah, let's not.
The worms and machine guns.
Because there's a value to that.
The thundering of Lieutenant Caffey up there.
The NCAA would have loved that.
Oh, yeah.
Because
it's under oath.
Yeah, they don't have subpoena power in the NCAA. When you're under oath, it becomes admissible as part of the investigation in the NCAA.
My other thing
there's this little thing called discovery as well that I don't.
There's a lot of reasons why Michigan did not want to do that.
Even you go, perjury is a federal crime.
It's a hell of a drug.
It is, but like if you get walked into saying something that could
and all
be
of a sudden
then
the NCAA comes up
3 months, 4 months later, oh, this actually was disproven, and you did this intentionally, like that. I don't know what the federal court system is. Like we laugh about it because it's sports, but when you go up and go under oath, like
That's
legally
real.
in
It's a real
America.
deal.
It's a real thing.
It's a
That's real.
deal.
So whether you're talking about jaywalking, sign stealing, or fraud or murder, like you're not supposed to be able to lie and get away with it if you get caught. That's kind of the backbone of our judicial system. So I got getting up there and like he's kind of a loose cannon when he gets going.
Yeah,
he would be a great witness. Very entertaining. I feel like he would have a lot of the Johnny Depp.
No, he's turning
what's her
into
name?
Amber Heard.
He's going like Ted
Mega
Lasso.
glass of
He's
wine.
going all Ted Lasso lately. It's very annoying.
It's something.
He is a little. That's.
Did you hear him today? Did you hear him today?
No, what he said.
What did he say?
He's talking about the locker room and how they're dealing with adversity, but the locker room is a lot like my mom's bathing suits in one piece. Like what the hell, Jim?
What?
That's
He
awesome.
dropped that, really?
Yeah,
Gosh, I love him. He is.
What a weirdo.
he's going full Lasso.
Yeah.
I'll be sad when he's no longer
Be a
there.
goldfish is his next one.
See,
huh?
I will not be sad about that
Why?
because I
You get what? You get some boob
I
up
think
there
he's
that doesn't
weird,
talk.
man.
He
I-
is weird.
I
You don't
just-
think he is
You
weird,
want,
dude?
you want them to have a weird.
He
dude
is
at
weird,
home.
but he is a great weird evil villain because
He is a perfect
believes
villain.
he believes everything. To be the ultimate villain, you've got to believe what you're doing.
you got to believe you're the good guy.
Yes, and that's my point.
And
He's
America's team. Yeah.
we're I think
How do
he
you
honest-
say that?
I think
How
he
do you
honestly-
say that while then subsequently claiming that it's Michigan against everyone else?
Who knows? Everyone loves an
Everyone's against us except for America.
They love it because they love an underdog. Vern. They love an
Free
underdog story.
Harbaugh when he voluntarily took it.
I honestly think that's one of the most interesting parts of Saturday is that Ohio State has now become the underdog in this series, in this game on Saturday, and America is suddenly on their side to knock Michigan down a peg or two.
I love it.
Since when would that have ever been the case? I don't know, but it is. Saturday, it's finally here, folks.
Do you think like Ryan Day? I mean, it's a little bit, Maximus Decimus Meridius, the general that became a slave, the slave that became a gladiator, the gladiator that overthrew an emperor.
It'd be a hell of a story, wouldn't it? And then he's just going to walk out to midfield on Saturday and say,
I mean, you look how Commodus tried to get it done.
"Are you not entertained?"
Not entertained.
Conceal the wound.
But Burn won't. But
Give him
Burn
the
won't
shank
care.
beforehand.
It won't matter to Burn. It'll just be like every
It
other
would
one
matter.
before.
Yeah, no big deal.
Is there a sadness that this is the last one that really matters? Like this?
I don't want to admit that, but there is a feeling of that.
Yeah.
And it was like a weird feeling
No,
before.
they all still matter,
once they
but-
went to the divisional round, like would it lose a little bit? Then you realize, wow, the West sucks so bad that once
always
you win
comes down to this
once
one.
you win this one, no one's ever losing the next game. So it's really this. And there was that worry in 2012, which was taken care of by the NCAA and everything else, and Michigan not being good, that it didn't happen. And so like we've lived in this kind of utopia for a decade where we thought it could be bad, and it's I don't know. I guess that there is some of that because the divisionless stuff, playing back to back.
They can play 3 times next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
is more Ohio State Michigan bad though?
Yes.
Okay.
I like it for the singularity of it.
Like I said, this is the single most important edition of the game of all time, and I'm glad we've all got on the same page. Ahead of Saturday at noon in the Big House, it's Ohio State and Michigan. It's the game. Can't wait. Full coverage coming all week at the podcast, starting on a Monday in Roosters at the Horseshoe Lounge. It's a fun, casual joint. We appreciate Nicole Cox for having us in here. I appreciate Justin Zwick, Bobby Carpenter, and Jeremy Birmingham. I'm Austin Ward. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy the game. We'll talk to you next week.